Like, subscribe, and hit that bell.
Yes. Top of the afternoon. We have a special treat for you. We're gonna have Mr. Dave Mcwater joining us shortly. Split T Management, very busy man. He has some fighters fighting. We're gonna ask him a couple of questions. You see, I got my specs on my clear frames, man. Shout out to Polo Twan, man. Gary Antoine Russell, who is fighting tomorrow night. But yes, just give him a second to join the live stream. I just sent him the link. And we are going to conduct an interview, man. Add another one to the catalog of the sauce, man. Like I said, if you guys sent me some questions, after I'm done with the couple of questions that I have, I will definitely be getting to those. So don't worry about that. One thing about the sauce is we try to, like my man would say, we want to cater to the consumer, because without the consumer, even though you don't pay for this product, but the consumer, the audience, is who we do this for. Hopefully y'all caught that sauce, man. But yeah, a little tired, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you. That's another reason why I might have my frames on. When you work around the clock, but some of us, that's what we have to do. Especially when you are independent and you are doing your thing, right? Let me see. But yes, how was everybody's Friday going, man? Up here in New York, right? We had a little inclement weather, so to say, but that has subsided. That has definitely subsided. And now we are, raining. It's raining, but the rain has went away. Make sure you guys can hear me clear. Hold on, let me check my mic level now. I want to check the mic. Check the mic. Let me check the mic now. Hold on. Give me a second, man. Let's see how the mic is sounding. That was the mic sounding. Oh, the mic is sounding good. All right. We always gotta check on that, man. Always gotta check on that, man. I should have got me something to drink before I got started, but I'll be alright. Like I said, man, this is Split T Management CEO, man. Split T Management CEO. For those of y'all who are really with the business, And I think that, like, the questions that I have prepared, right? I think it's gonna surprise some of y'all, but the questions that I like to ask certain, power players in the game, man. I ask these types of questions for the simple fact, my one of my catchphrases that I love to use over here on the sources, but hey, what do I know? So when I do have the opportunity to speak with certain people, I love to ask them certain type of sauce that goes with, but hey, what do I know? Hopefully y'all caught that sauce, man. Hopefully y'all caught that, man. But yes, man. I tried to take a nap, but I didn't want to oversleep. So I was like, I know this is an important interview, and I did not want to oversleep, because one thing about when you do these interviews, especially StreamYard, and certain people on certain statures and levels, they give you a time slot, and it is important to be on time and be ready to go, because some of these people that for those that do interviews and going to be conducting interviews, some of the people that you have, their day is so structured around time, and they have meetings left and right, and you might be given this time slot, and got to be ready. You feel me? Hopefully I caught that sauce. You see, I'm giving out a couple of gems. I'm giving out a couple of gems, so to say. All right, let me pull this up. So, see, one thing about me, right? I learned that too from watching. Have your stuff ready, and I got it ready. So I'm gonna pull it right up. I'm gonna pull it up. So I am ready to go. There we go. So, man. Let's see what else is going on in the world. Salute to World Combat Sports. I see you, Scotty. I see you. I see you. Yo, listen, you put even more pressure on me. But like I said, I'm getting comfortable with doing these. I see you got the 3 p.m. slot, man. So now it's like I'm a reference. I was watching Jay-Z on the with LeBron in the barbershop, and he was referencing DMX performing, and then he had to perform, and he was like, what the hell am I gonna do? This is like a performance, man. When you interview certain people, it's a performance, man. So that's what this is, man. Look, but yeah, y'all gonna be surprised, right? And I'm gonna say this. One, I didn't even know. Like I said, I gained a little insight yesterday when I posted, promoting this interview. One of the coaches, shout out to my guy, Coach K. He hit me up and he gave me some insight. So I was like, oh man, don't worry. I'm gonna definitely use that now. I can incorporate that as a question, Yes, definitely will. Definitely will, man. Definitely will. And I'm gonna tell you something. Me, man, these right here, right? For those of y'all that do interviews and you talk to different players in the game, right? If you know me, right? this is new to me, but it's not new to me now. But I'm like, the I was look, that's the text. He said he's ready. Give him the link right now. He texted me back. He said, "Is this a video?" Yes, he's going to click on it, man. But like I said, doing these right. I was my initial ever first one I ever did was with Regis. I still get nervous doing these, man, more than like I said, I talked to Mr. McWaters in person numerous times, Stewart Hotel, Turner Points Casino, in the elevator. I get more nervous people on this, man. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's weird, man. Here he is. Got him in the building. Oh man,
Oh,
it's what a pleasure. Yes. Good afternoon. Good morning to you, Mr. McWaters. Thank you for your time.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes, man. It is an honor, first of all, I want to say, man.
Oh,
Um,
thanks.
yeah, first off, my first question that I want to ask you is, man, congratulations on all the success with the fighters. Just give people a little background on how you got started into the business, and
Oh, I had worked with basketball players 35 years ago, and so it was always kind of around that. I'd done some stuff in the other sports, and but I had a core business in New York City, which I sold most of between like 2008, 2012, and so I retired, got fat, and thought I should do something else. So I started this in 2013, really intending it to be much smaller than it is.
okay.
And it just kind of grew and grew and grew.
Wow,
So,
wow.
but I had been in boxing a little bit in the '90s. I was close friends with a famous promoter who's in the Hall of Fame named Don Elbaum,
Okay.
and I would do stuff with Don and go to his shows and get involved with his people, and so I had some ideas, about what was going on, and some of them were accurate, some of them weren't.
Okay. Okay, cool, man. Listen, in promoting this, marketing this, right? Coach Kenyatta. See, it's a small world. Coach K hit me up and he said, "Oh, that's my guy, David. He signed Mac." I'm like, "Wow, he is Mac's
Yeah.
Mac's manager." See, it's a small world. And you just touched on the fact that and how it has grown. Mac was the second fighter you ever signed. Now look at you, man. Numerous world champions, guys fighting on ESPN. Just speak on that aspect because you talk about how the business has grown.
Well, I'll tell you this first, just about Mac. Mac is probably my favorite fighter I've ever signed in some ways. It's hard to explain, but
Okay.
he and I are very close.
Yes.
He's had his ups and downs in his life, but he's just a wonderful person. And he is coming back, I think, March 4th.
Yes. Yes. On the
So,
Andre Rozier card.
no, I don't
Oh.
think that card is happening. So I think we're going to move him to Columbus
Okay.
on Arnold weekend. But
Okay.
if Andre's card is happening, we're going to that. But we've got a backup. So the point
Okay.
is, no matter what, Joe Williams is fighting March 4th,
Yes.
which we're really excited about. He's just, I think he's one of the classiest fighters I've ever seen, like in style in the ring. And he's just one
Yes.
of my absolute favorite people. And Dre
Yes.
loves him too. So he's got a good training situation now. And Kenyatta, not that he didn't before, Kenyatta loved him. Kenyatta's a wonderful guy
Yes. Yes.
um, that I still talk to all the time, actually. But yeah, it just kind of, I came in, like I said, I wasn't planning to be this big, but Al Heyman went into promoting. Cameron
Yes.
Duncan had a big falling out with Top Rank, and there were just sort of it was a vacuum. It was a political vacuum, and
Mm.
we were there. We signed at the 2016 Olympics, we signed Teofimo Lopez and Antonio
Mm.
Vargas and Charles Conwell and Vikas Krishan and a bunch of those Olympians, and kind of came out of it after 2016, everybody knew we were here to stay.
Yes.
But even before that, some of those kids that we started with, I mean, I guess really the first guy was Antonio Nieves. We got him to a world title shot. And I remember, though, on the way up, people would say to me, I like what you did with Antonio Nieves. And I said, I like what I did with him too, but don't count Antonio Nieves out of that equation. He's the hardest working person I know. So I can
Yes.
do a lot for you, but I can't do it for you if you're not going to work, So Antonio Nieves, yeah, he got a title shot, but he got up at 6 every morning and ran his miles, and then he went to work at the bank all day, and then he got done at the bank and he went and trained. And he was a man amongst men. And
Yeah.
so if you're willing to work that hard, it makes my job a lot easier.
Yes, yes. I'm so glad that you said that because I said that to somebody. I said that I can't take credit for what you do in the ring, and if you can't perform in the ring, the phone doesn't ring. And that right there, you just pretty much said that, man.
Right.
I want you to touch on this, right? Because here it is. I have a real boxing insider, top manager. You are probably constantly in talks with matchmakers and promoters all the time. Whenever I talk to fighters, I always stress to them the fact that to always stay ready, train like you have a fight. Can you just speak on the a little bit of the insiders part of how you probably are constantly getting calls for guys to have fights last minute sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, luckily, most of our guys now are with promoters, so we sort of
Okay.
have more scheduling ability. But the guys that aren't, we try to stay on top of them to stay, in the gym all the time. And there's various ones that don't fight that often because they don't.
Yes.
But it is a true thing, and like I said, like with Antonio Nieves being hardworking and making his own breaks, he worked a job to support himself when whether things were slow or not. In fact, I bet the kid's sitting on a pile of money because I think he put all of his boxing money aside. He lives on his banking salary.
Mhm.
But he would get up, he would run, then he would go to work all day, and then he would train. And that
Yeah.
that kind of dedication you see out of maybe 1 out of 15 or 20 guys,
Yes.
at tops.
Yeah.
But if you have that, you're going to absolutely make more opportunities for you. And all those little things matter. Like we try to get our medicals in early. We try to, just like little things, licensing, we try to get it done early ahead of time so that the promoters know that if they're in a spot, they can always put our guys on a card.
Mm.
Even if there's just, like 3 guys fall out because of COVID and they need more bodies. Well, yeah, my kid fought last month, but he's been in the gym and he's got his medicals and his licensing done and he gets an extra fight.
Yes.
So all those little things add up. Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you for that great insight. Great insight. Another question I have for you. I brought this up when we was on the elevator at the Turner Points Casino. Just break down, man. Like I said, I thought you was an Ohio guy, man. You have such a strong hold on Ohio fighters. Shout out to O'Shea Jones, his sister Otha Jones, Tiger Johnson, and many others, man. Your light heavyweight that just describe that stronghold that you have on Ohio, man.
A lot of that was just being in the right place at the right time. When I first started, I met Coach Sappho, who coaches Tiger Johnson and Dante Benjamin now, and who was
Yeah.
one of the legendary amateur coaches. And although we didn't actually have a fighter together right away, he introduced me to Joe Del Guy, who
Okay.
was a Cleveland trainer who trained Antonio Nieves. And
Okay.
so then from Antonio, and I remember Joe Del Guy's the first person that really told me about Charles. I mean, he had called me when Charles was like 15, and
Yeah.
he's like, "You got to see this kid, Charles Conwell. He's the best thing I ever saw." And then a few months later, he might have been just barely 17. Charles won national Golden Gloves, which you just don't do at those weight classes that young. And at that point, you knew he was going to be somebody very, very special. But yeah, a lot of it really just happened, relationships. But yeah, I bet at one point half our fighters were from Ohio.
Yes.
Uh, and Michigan and Ohio are very close, obviously, too. There's sort of that Detroit Toledo corridor, so you start to throw in all the Michigan guys, and we had a
Yes.
lot of people from
Yes.
that
Yes.
area.
Yes, sticking with Charles Conwell. Shout out to Charles Conwell, Cleveland, Ohio, in the building. Bad news. Where do you see him, unfolding in these next couple of years? Because he's one of the top 154 pounders, man. Where do you see him going?
I feel about Charles like I did about Teofimo before he fought. What's the name of the guy Teofimo won his title from?
Lomachenko.
No. He
Oh,
won it
Richard
from
Comey. Richard
Richard
Comey.
Comey.
Richard Comey.
Charles is a world champion just walking around without a belt right now. But
Okay.
We've been meeting about his future with the people that are involved in it now, with his promoters, and I think he's, we're really just looking for a vacant belt at this point.
Okay.
But he's going to be Charles Conwell will be a world champion within 4 fights. I am
Wow.
100% positive of that. Not 100, 100% positive of everything, but I am really certain that within 4 fights he's a world champion. He's a special kid.
Yes, definitely. That's another one of your Olympians, 2016 Olympian.
Yeah.
Talk about you got a 2020 Olympian and Tiger Johnson. Let's stay with Cleveland, man. Another Cleveland fighter, man.
Right. Well, and we had way more. COVID messed it up. We had Javi Martinez, and then he left because of COVID, and so then they put Joe Hicks on at 165, who was also our guy even before the Olympic trials. And then when COVID canceled Continentals, they had to call back the pros because they had the points for that system. So Troy Isley got to be the Olympian, but we had the first 2 65s. And then, of course, we have Antonio Morelos, who won at super heavyweight, but then Richard Torres got it. So it was, but I first saw Tiger in January 2016 at Reno Youth Nationals.
Yeah.
And he knocked a kid out in the second or third fight. And I just never seen such power from a kid so skinny. He reminded me of Eric Davis, the baseball player. Okay. And I fell in love. Ryan Garcia won that weight class, and I walked away liking Tiger more. And I've just been kind of on him since then. I always liked Tiger. And in fact, he lost that youth national, but he was just about the right age to become elite. So that was in January. I think in August of that year, he either won or was silver medalist and world elite at that weight class, and then came back and won USA elites. So imagine what kind of a year of development for that kid that was. I mean, in January, he's losing the youth championship, but by the end of the year, he was the elite national champion. And if he wasn't world champion, he was really close. And that fight also showed a lot about that second in August. He went to Russia and fought in Worlds, and then came back and had no sleep, no anything, and went to Nationals and won that. So that I said a lot. I thought spoke to heart and character. And then he had a controversial win in that tournament over Bruce Carrington, and he raised Carrington's arm, and I thought that spoke a lot to character. So I've always been a huge Tiger Johnson fan.
Definitely, yeah. Shout out to Tiger and congratulations on that last victory out there in Tulsa,
He's coming
Oklahoma.
back soon. He's March 26th. Him and Dante Benjamin will both be on that card, as will Haven Brady.
Yes.
And I think that's it for us on that card.
See, and look, I was about to get to Haven Brady, man. Shout out to Haven Brady. Georgia in the building.
Right.
What did you see in him? I follow a lot of these guys in the amateurs. What did you see in him that sparked your interest in him?
Of course, we have I have my mathematical system, and he scored very, very high in that. Okay. But with the naked eye too, anybody could see his speed, and he's got the physique that I think will lend itself to power. It was hard to tell in the amateurs just how much power a guy's going to have. But he had that physique. And then once you meet his family, though, you're sold on the kid. He's from an A1 family. He's an A+ kid himself. That most of my actual scouting I do with my mathematical formula. I go to all the tournaments, but I go to them really to sort of meet and vet the kids to find out, do they have character? Do they have heart? Do they, do they play grab ass in the hall, or are they serious in their room? That kind of stuff. And once you met that kid, you knew he was going to be somebody special. He's intelligent. He's hardworking. He's from a great family. he's got it all.
Definitely, definitely. Speaking on your mathematics system, right? I was gonna get to that. When do you start guys start hitting the radar for you in the amateurs? At what age do you as a top manager, do you start really taking a notice to top young, like you said, elite and youth,
Right.
guys on the farm system?
So the system works better for elite fights.
Okay.
I have, because of little Otha Jones, I started doing juniors and youths to try to see if we could predict them. And we can, but not with the same kind of certainty that we can with elites.
Okay.
So I won't actually do the stats on a youth or a junior unless he's somebody everybody's talking about and is really special.
Yes.
A Mark Castro or somebody like that. I'll go do them because I'm curious. But what we keep day to day is the elite kids, and
Okay.
it basically we put a bunch of data into a computer and tried to figure out what the odds of somebody being quote unquote successful were, and we defined successful, because you're doing thousands and thousands of fights, as fighting for a world title.
Mm.
And so the program is supposed to give us a percentage chance of a guy fighting for a world title during his career. And the average high level prospect, the kind of guy that gets signed by a Top Rank or a Golden Boy or somebody like that, has about a 10% chance. It's lower than you'd think. We're trying to sign guys that have a 30% or better. Conwell, Teofimo, and Shakur were all over 70.
Mm.
Crazy number. And Gary
Yes.
Russell, the one that was on the Olympic team,
Yeah, Antoine.
he was very close to that. I mean, there wasn't a dime's worth of difference between the four of those kids. And frankly, Boots Ennis and Antonio Vargas were pretty close up high on those numbers too. And we don't represent Antonio anymore, but I still think, if he wants it, he'll make a comeback. And I think that kid could fight for a world title easily. But there were a lot of, I guess what I'm trying to say is in 2016, there were a lot of special kids in America. I mean,
Yeah.
Boots Ennis didn't even make the Olympic team. And that kid is, he's got an IQ off the hook. He's got it all. I don't know what he doesn't have. And I remember him watching, we represent Ray Robinson, who he helps his father train.
Yes.
And I remember him working with Ray at fights and stuff. And, he's 18 years old and I'm watching him and I'm like, when is he going to be immature? When
Yeah.
is he going to act like a child? And he never does. He
Yeah.
had his emotional intelligence beyond his ring IQ and his actual IQ. His emotional intelligence is completely off the charts.
Mm.
And I'm not really kidding. I mean, I think his father's a wonderful trainer. Boots may already be a better one. I mean, if he weren't going to be a world champion boxer and a multimillionaire, I think he could quit tomorrow and become a great trainer. He's that smart. But all those kids were. I mean, Shakur, even Clarissa. I mean, I traveled a lot with that team to Continentals and stuff. Those kids, Conwell, Teofimo, Vargas, they all saw things that most people just don't even see.
Wow.
Uh,
That is
so
that is that is
it
some great insight.
was a special bunch of kids, I thought.
Yes. Yes. Speak on you have Raul Marquez's son,
Yes.
the former champion. Speak on him since we're speaking on lineage and fighters and coaches and guys, fathers who were fighters and their sons. So speak on him. He's gonna be a special one too, I'm hearing.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. Giovanni, first of all, he's a special kid,
Okay.
extremely intelligent, and totally driven. I mean,
Yes.
no questions ever about his work ethic. But I think, he was relentless in the ring, and he was technically sound, and he gave it his all. And he was very young in these elite tournaments, and finishing third or fifth, but getting better all of the time. And then I don't know if it's when his dad took over the training or if he just
Yeah.
got his man muscles, but all of a sudden at 19, he added power, which
Yes.
most people don't add power. You're sort of, it's like a fastball. You're either born with it or you're not. But this kid all of a sudden, I bet he gave out a half dozen standing 8 counts at National Golden Gloves this year, and that
Mm.
doesn't happen.
Wow.
At that level with headgear, 3 rounds, you don't give out after day 1. You don't give out many 8 counts. He gave out 2 in the final against a
Mm.
really tough kid, by the way, that Alex Saucedo trains. In one of the best Golden Glove finals I'd ever seen. So he's really a special kid. I mean, I think adding power, which is for an amateur, it's the number one coefficient to success. If you've got power in the amateurs, if you can show power in the amateurs, it's the number one thing that says, yeah, you're probably going to be a good pro. So I
Okay.
think he's the total package, and we think we'll have an announcement about him pretty soon. But he's something I'm very excited about. It's harder managing him though, because I knew his father before. His father's a road buddy of mine, because he's always out at the I do a lot of show boxes and he does all the
Yeah.
show boxes. So it's a little internal pressure to do the best
Yeah.
job possible, which
Yes.
I have for all of them, but it's heightened by knowing his father. But
Yes. Yes.
they're wonderful people, and I'm very excited about his future.
Yes.
And he's going to
Definitely.
be debuting on Showbox
Yeah.
March 11th, Deadwood, South Dakota.
Yes. Yeah. Speak on that, man. 30. What is it? 35 dates in 38 days, or 38.
35. We have 35 guys fighting in the next 38 days.
Yeah.
Now it's
Speak on
34 and
that.
37 because Sonny Kanto fought last night.
Yeah. Shout out to Sonny Conto, Philadelphia, in the
Yeah,
building.
he looked great. Yeah, it's just we got a lot of fighters and they're all getting active. I think I don't want to jinx anything, but I feel like the pandemic is winding down finally, and so boxing
Yeah.
is going back to normal. I think in 2019, I think we had about 145, 150 fights.
Yes.
And I think we would have in 2020 or 2021, if there had been no pandemic, got up to around 300. But you just lost, there were something like 14% as many fights in 2020 as there was 2019. So we had 40% as many and we're psyched.
Okay.
But I think, we'll do over 300 fights this year with our guys. So far this year, we're undefeated. I don't know how long that'll last, but
Yes.
I think we'll do over 300 fights this year with our guys,
Okay.
which is exciting. It's just
Yes.
time consuming, and we try to have somebody at every fight, but like Saturday night, the 26th, we've got 5 guys in 5 cities. So, somebody's out. I mean, but generally speaking, we try to have somebody at everybody's fight. I'll be in Philly with Ray Robinson.
Okay.
Myself.
Sticking with the heavyweights, just touching on Sonny. You also signed Big Shot, Steven Shaw. What do you
Yeah.
see? What do you see the plan for him? Because I heard whispers of possibly not next fight, but down the road maybe challenging Jared Anderson over there. So what is the plan for Big Shot?
Well, he's with Top Rank now,
Yes.
and he just had his first fight with them. We're looking at a second one, which will probably be in a couple of months. But obviously, I believe he's going to be a world champion. I think he's going to be a contender by later this year, like an actual contender. I think he is right now. He just doesn't have the ranking.
Yes.
But I think he will by later this year. And of course, Jared's in house, so that's always a possibility. The fight's got to make sense for both kids, both strategically and financially. But they're all there. But we're sort of trusting in Top Rank. They've got Brad Goodman over there. I think he'll match the kid right. And Big Shot's ready though. I mean, he's been Deontay's sparring partner for like 8 years. I mean, before I even had the kid, he was sparring partner with him, and he's been in there with everybody. I mean, you name a big heavyweight, he sparred him.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's really ready. I think it's his time. Heavyweights, come of age a little bit later, and he's at that age now. I expect really, really big things from him. I think he at least fights for a world title, and I expect him to be a world champion. And frankly, there's guys out there right now he could beat that are world champions. No doubt in my mind. Don King has some world champion. And they offered us that fight, but you had to sign with Don King and options, so we passed on that. But he's a champion without a belt, but we're gonna get him one.
Definitely. Shout out to Big Shot, man. Continued success. Abraham Nova, we was on that card with him. He looked it great. Is a possible world title shot for him next, Supernova? And shout out to him for that the ring. He did a great job with the mascot, man. That was second to none.
The mascot was awesome. I'm thinking about getting one for myself. Everybody should have a mascot, I've decided. He has been offered the Navarrete fight. We have accepted it. We have not heard back from Navarrete. I don't know if they're going to take it or not. But yeah, sooner or later, Abraham Nova will be fighting for a world title, and I think much sooner. He's probably the next guy we have. If it's not Charles Conwell, the next guy we have to fight for a world title will probably be Abraham Nova.
Yeah,
I mean, he could fight for one in May. So it could be really, really soon.
Yes,
And he's a special kid, a hard worker, very intelligent. He was also in all of our camps, not all of them, but several Teofimo camps. He was there for, I think, Nakatani and Comey. And of course, we went with Southpaws for Loma, so he wasn't there, but he was in our Nakatani and Comey fights. So, we're really fond of Abraham and have a many-layered relationship with him.
Yes, and there you go. Like I said, I'm not gonna hold too much of your time, but I wanted to close with the grand finale. You just brought him up. Shout out to Teofimo Lopez. What is the plans for Teofimo Lopez? Because you get all these rumors and whispers, but having right here the insight himself, the manager. What are the plans for Teofimo Lopez?
No matter what had happened in November, Teofimo was moving up to 140. He's been at 132 since he was like 13 years old. The amateurs, and then 135 in the pro. So he was moving up no matter what. So we're moving up to 140. He's getting his health together, and I think we'll fight late April or May. And I think it'll be a significant opponent. He is undeterred by what happened in New York and only wants to fight big name people and in big fights. So I think it's going to be a big fight, and we're hoping that it puts us back in the mix immediately and that we can get Josh Taylor.
Yes.
So yeah, I think look forward to some exciting news about Teofimo.
Yes. Once again, I'm not going to hold too much of your time because I see you have a busy schedule. You have another interview lined up right after this. Like I said, thank you for your time, Mr. Mcwater. It was a pleasure. Hopefully this could be the start of many, many great interviews with you on the Source Talk.
No problem.
Because I know the people love to hear from true boxing insiders, and you, like I said, your credentials, your resume speaks for itself. You are a true boss player, boxing insider in the game. Thank you for your time, Mr. Mcwater. And you could close out with any news that you would like to give to the supporters, consumers, and your fans.
Yeah, I don't know if I have much news. We've got 5 guys on this Showbox March 11th, so everybody tune in to Showtime March 11th and watch that. And thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Mcwater, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Yes. Bye-bye. Yes, thank you to Mr. David Mcwater, Split T Management. Teofimo Lopez, they might be looking at Josh Taylor. Hopefully, I was able to give you guys some insightful information, boxing information. That is a hitter. He's a major player in the game. Stephen Shaw, Charles Conwell, Tiger Johnson. The list goes on. But hopefully you caught my source, and this was very informative for the boxing community. With that being said, I am going to try to get some rest. Because like I said, I have been working nonstop, and it's always a pleasure to do this for the true boxing fans, to give you some real boxing insider insight. Like we always like to say over here, but hey, what do I know? So sometimes I just bring in the guys that do actually know a little something. Hopefully you caught that sauce. Tap in at 3 p.m. My guy, World Combat Sports, will be also interviewing Mr. McWaters. For those of y'all that love to listen and hear information from real boxing insiders. In closing, keep God first. Never put a limitation on what you can do and can't accomplish. Look at me, little older sauce. I just had a major hitter on the Source Talk. But go figure, Hey, what do I know? Hopefully y'all enjoy that, man. We're going to close like we always do with a couple of drops. This has been a Source Talk exclusive. Look, let's get that up there. Thank you, Andrew Charles. Appreciate you. Salute to you on World Combat Sports. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed this interview, man. A lot of gems. You know how I do. I'm going to edit this up. Break it down probably a little later, because like I said, I've been working non-stop. I'm happy how this interview came out, man. I got in a couple of questions from a couple of the supporters in regards to certain fighters that they wanted to be asked about, and hopefully they are happy with that. And like I said, everybody be great, keep God first. Always believe in him, because what he has for you is going to always be for you. Hopefully y'all caught that sauce.
Yo, you know who it is. It's Chop Corley, one and only. I'm a Hall of Fame legend right here. I'm here with the sauce, y'all. We're going to chop it up real soon. Back in the kitchen with Chop Kitchen.
Yeah, you know the vibe.
Like, subscribe, and hit that bell.